And now, a musical interlude.
I'd write a hell of a letter, and anybody that doesn't know any better will tell you I am that $0 man. Good thing this isn't a singing show. It's a movie show. And aren't we all luckier for that? Welcome back to week 4. Oh, I'm so excited, everybody. I am so excited for week 4. Are you excited as I am? I really do hope so, because we've got some absolute crackers this week. 5 of them. It was going to be 6, but I fell asleep during 1, so I'm not going to count it. I'll count it at a later date. This tone is, really weird. I kind of like it, this kind of clawing. Oh, please, this is going to be a really great show, guys. You're going to love it. How funny would it be if I kept that up for the whole episode? I think less people would watch it than already watch it now, which, honestly, bring it on. I want the only person watching this to be me, and then obviously it exists, so once you stumble across it, it's literally just me and then the other person on the other side of the screen doing this. So once society is but a distant memory, and you have to pray to the Crab King 3 times a day, otherwise his priests will come through and gut you. And the Barbarian King is demanding you learn to sing and dance to entertain him. You'll sneak downstairs where you have a computer set up, a hidden one, and no one else knows about, and you can watch these videos and imagine what these movies are like, because the world has all but disappeared, or this world, the world that I'm living in right now, doesn't exist. So you can just imagine. Speaking of worlds that don't exist, that's what we're starting today with. We're starting today with 2 features which were presented as a double at the GOMA, at the Gallery of Modern Art. And I believe that they're meant to be viewed together. They're very similar, so I'm going to talk about them at the same time, sort of interchangeably. So I'll make sure I've got enough time to do the title card here. But we're doing Northern Lights, and we're doing Days of Heaven. There we go. So I've got those 2 in there. Now, these 2 movies focus incredibly tightly on grain farming in North America, but the northern part, grain farmers. And each one has a different take on the symbol of that. So in Days of Heaven, the symbol of grain farming is this kind of idyllic, simpler time sort of thing. It is very much like a, it's the Old West. It's industrialization, it's progress, but in a very sort of sentimental, familial way. So it's very Shakespearean even. Visually, it's gorgeous, and that is kind of what reinforces this sentimentality in the film. Northern Lights, however, is about the plight of these farmers, focusing on the socialist roots of the Farmers League, and unions and farmer unions, and it's about kind of collective action in this industry. It's very interesting to put these 2 movies together, as the character in Days of Heaven who owns the farm is quite wealthy. He's quite a mogul, being the sole benefactor of the grain harvest. He lives life very lavishly and with higher stature, while in Northern Lights they're all immigrants from Germany and Poland and Eastern European countries, coming to America for a better life. So it is kind of interesting to see the path to the better life from this struggle in Northern Lights to this kind of idyllic, eternal twilight, kind of the last days of the American dreams, the American dream, if you will, this kind of twilight of ethos that is presented in Days of Heaven. I found Days of Heaven to kind of be a little bit beyond discussion, just in the sense that it is so emotional and sentimental and effervescent even. The movie, every scene in that movie is like a painting, especially towards the end, where it becomes kind of the imagery really ramps up with the emotions in the story coming to a pinnacle. So does the imagery, and that's just completely by design. It is one of the most sentimental, emotional movies I've ever seen. Completely Shakespearean, and where the plot is so simple. It's
it's boy and girl are in love, and there's something stopping them, so they have to work together. So Shakespearean. The world itself is manipulated by these emotions of the main characters. This kind of love that affects all things, and the hate that comes from love betrayed and such. Very interesting. But I do love in Days of Heaven, talking about like the twilight of the American dream. All this terrible shit happens to the characters. You know, they have a plan, and the plan doesn't go their way, and it leads to disaster. Just terrible shit happening to everyone. And then the child character just says, well, none of us are perfect. And it's just a complete shit show where everything is just falling out. Like, people have died, and lives have been ruined. And the response to that is nobody's perfect. But I think that is the leeway given in this kind of end time. Twilight of the dream. Twilight of this kind of great experiment. Northern Lights, the dream is dead. Actually, no, it's the opposite. It's the birth of the dream. The birth of the dream is what Northern Lights is about. It is kind of this... Once the film begins, the banks have taken control over everything. The railroad companies are scamming everyone out of their grain. Grain sellers and buyers aren't buying for the proper amount. They're buying on the low end. And it's kind of about how you can't just keep your head down and hope it won't happen to you, because that's the end goal of these capitalists, is to come through and kind of bleed everyone dry, to try to make your suffering the normal, to the point where everyone kind of forgets that they're suffering. It was very cool to see such just a straight up, honest to God socialist movie from the 70s. The performances in that were incredible, and there's lots of super long reflective segments of the film of these characters just kind of feeling emotions and figuring out what they're going to do. And that I did like. I have heard a criticism of Northern Lights, people saying it was boring. I think it's just slow. I wouldn't necessarily call it boring, but it is a slow film, and sometimes you just need to be in the mood for a slow kind of film like that. I myself really enjoyed Days of Heaven. The performances in that were... Northern Lights. Northern Lights, I thought the performances were incredible, so real. Northern Lights in its own right is quite Shakespearean. Especially, there's a scene where... the main organizer, the league organizer, is going and making his rounds before the election, and his wife is lamenting kind of how alone she feels in the house while he's out trying to make this difference. And it's kind of about how, like, the sacrifices even the individuals themselves are sacrificing a lot of personal time and personal stakes. As in, like, his marriage is in jeopardy because of how much time he's spending organizing the farmers. And she delivers an incredible monologue about how in the old country, women weren't allowed to say anything, and they just had to keep it down and keep it down and keep it down until it killed them. And then there's kind of this big outburst where she says, he can't even tell me he loves me, and what am I supposed to do? I'm meant to just die. Like, along those lines. And it's very impactful. It was made on, like, a relatively low budget, because it was made by the grandson of the organizers. So I imagine most of the cast in this film are just kind of community actors from, like, I don't know where, like, maybe that's what I've learnt from those two movies is fuck America. Different takes on the same symbol of the grain farmers. With obviously Terrence Malick being very sentimental. Gorgeous. Both movies were very gorgeous, actually, in their own way. One in, like, dry desolation and hope being birthed from this sad circumstance, and the other one is the slow sunset of the American ideals kind of fading away into the new world. But yeah, both films are very good. I really enjoyed that Goma did those back to back, and I'm very glad that I watched both of them. I was going to give Northern Lights a miss, but I'm very glad I saw it. It's good to see such a just a straight up socialist movie. It was quite it was refreshing, at least. The third movie I saw this week is one of my all-time favorites. That's right. It's Stop Making Sense by Jonathan Demme. See, hang on, I'll move the camera this way, but I've got the poster up on my wall. I love Talking Heads. I love this movie. There's nothing to say about it. Just like literally watch it. I'm not actually going to say anything about it just because it is like a perfect movie. It's so exuberant and fun. Kind of every new idea comes in with this kind of childlike whimsy. They present these ideas to you in these sequences, and they develop in their own fun, unique ways. And then you get this new idea for the new song, and then that kind of evolves and evolves and evolves throughout the entire movie. And it's just so fun and unique and refreshing, and everyone's having fun. Oh, it's just such a good movie. It's such a good movie. Highly recommend. I watch this movie about every 6 months, so you'll be hearing me talk about it again, because this is my 6 months. So in about 6 months, I'll watch it again. So stay tuned for that, because I'll be talking about this film again, and I'll probably have even less to say. Now, the last two were also a double feature, but each one is different quite thematically. Very different, in fact. So I won't be linking them at all. But the fourth film, was The Secret Agent. Now, I'm on a bit of a mission to watch all of the Best Picture nominees before the Oscars, which is like March 15th or something, so I got a bit of time. I've only got to watch 2 more. I've only got to watch Hamnet and F1. So this was important to get off the list. Secret Agent was very, very interesting, because The Secret Agent is kind of this very like loose, grand arcing. It's kind of like a noir mystery thriller about the thriller itself is in the delivery of information you get throughout the film. You can tell from the start of the film, it starts with a very long, unbroken sequence of the main character at a petrol station. And he pulls up to the petrol station, and there's just a dead body in the corner. And he goes, "What's this about?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, he tried to rob the petrol station, but no, he threatened the main guy with a knife, so we shot him. He's dead now, and we called the police, but it's Carnival weekend, so the police aren't coming, so we just decided to leave him." And then he kind of goes, "Okay." And it's a very strange situation. And wild dogs keep coming in, or feral dogs keep coming in, and he keeps having to shoo them away. The petrol station attendant. And then the police pull up, and they start questioning our main character really suspiciously. They check everything in his car, and then they ask. He asks for a bit of money at the end, and he says, "Oh well, I don't have any money, but I can give you some cigarettes." And he goes, "That'll be alright." And he takes the whole packet. And then the film begins after this like 10-minute sequence of just of this kind of weird tension and this suspense. Once that happens, though, you don't really realize until about another 15-20 minutes into the movie that it is going to be very slow, and you're not going to, like, the movie is going to tell you what's happening when it wants to. So there is a lot of scenes of kind of this slow drip feed of information of, oh, you need to talk to this person, they'll help you out. And you kind of uncover this mystery of who our main character Marcelo is, and what he's doing, and why he's kind of starting this new life in this new city. Well, it's an old city, but he's back again. And it's kind of this very slow expansion of the world. And it is very, very enjoyable. Just the pace this movie takes, it is very slow, and you will see things that aren't necessarily relevant to the film. There is one moment in the film that I yelled out a big audible "What?" And then you find out, and then it justifies itself later. But you do kind of it's all these oddities and quirks of life under like regime. It's less of like it's not a James Bond thriller, you know, The Secret Agent. You expect it to be like spy espionage, but it's a lot slower than that. It's a lot realer than that, and it's a lot more stylized. I would say there's like a lot of phone calls and a lot of like kind of subterfuge, but it is sort of about these like hidden stories, like the stories of kind of like how incredible like a single life can be, because the Marcello's story is incredibly interesting, but throughout the film there are kind of like hints of oh, I don't want to speak too much on this because I do recommend The Secret Agent, but it speaks to how important each of our lives are on like a micro level, like your day-to-day life could be viewed as inexplicable or incredible to someone down the line, just through sheer circumstance on like, yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling a little bit, but I don't have the words to get my point across. It is just about life and about living life, and I think that's why there's so many strange occurrences in the film and things that don't always get fully explained. It's because it is about how life presents you with all these different avenues, and most of them you won't go down. But it is very interesting to see all these little tidbits of life creep into this this kind of story of espionage and Marcello's life. I highly recommend The Secret Agent. I think it's a great watch. It is a bit long, so once you begin watching it, just kind of settle in and really enjoy it, because it is quite exuberant, and it speaks to the joys of circumstance and forging a path through life. Speaking of forging a path through life, we've got a very difficult path forged by none other than one Marty Mauser in Marty Supreme. This is also a Best Picture nominee, so I also watched it. I was not expecting this to be as much of a straight down the middle, safety kind of project. Now, I do want to talk about it because there are a lot of people in my friends of mine have discussed the film, emphasizing how overrated the film is, and then the other half of my friends think it's the greatest film ever time. I think the truth, I'm gonna be a centrist here. I think the truth lies in the middle. No, I'm not gonna be a centrist like that. I'm just saying that I think Marty Supreme is a good movie. Honestly think it's a great movie. Is it the best film of all time? Is it the best movie of the year? No. It definitely has flaws, and it doesn't go too hard in any direction. I wish it would have been more about Marty playing ping pong. Alright, I'll go into light spoilers here on plot progression, like story progression. Marty, he plays table tennis at the World Championships, and then he wants to play again next year, but in him wanting to play again next year, he needs money to go. And then a lot of circumstances keep piling up where he's in debt and he needs money, and then he needs money on top of his debt to get to Japan to play in the next year's final. And then a big, probably a good, I'd say a third. A good third of the movie has nothing to do with ping pong. It's just all about Marty trying to get money. Once he leaves the racket with Tyler, the Creator, it just goes completely into he needs money. I'm gonna do all this shit, because he is he's smooth talking, and he'll do whatever it takes. It's just so straight down the middle. He could have been anyone. He could have been any other safety protagonist, smooth talking and lying and cheating, but the bits that are punctuated by his ability, his excellence, I think that's what separates him, well, that's the thing that the safety protagonists do, is that they are excellent at something, and Marty is excellent at lying, and he's excellent at ping pong. And it's very interesting when he uses the ping pong in combination with the lying, as in when he runs that racket, when he hustles. But just seeing the straight lying, that could be anyone. The straight lying is good, but I think the synthesis with ping pong would have made the film a ton better, because you get the final sequence. The final sequence is ping pong. He plays ping pong, and that is absolutely electric when he's playing, and it's all riding on like one game, one game to win it. He has to, like, if he wins this one game, he wins it all, and that's absolutely electric. Yeah, the table tennis scenes in this film are incredible, and I would love to see more of it. But just a good third of the movie, and it's not a short movie as well, it goes for like 2.5 hours. A good third of it just has nothing to do with table tennis, and it's just this guy that lies, and that was really disappointing. And I did see someone, a friend of mine, call the performance one note. I do think that's true. I don't think it was the best performance in the world. I think I liked the character. The characterization was incredible. I think that's what people are thinking about. They're thinking about the characterization, not so much the performance. Timothée Chalamet as Marty Mauser is an incredible character. He plays it very well. However, in the goings on of the film, he doesn't stop believing in himself for even a second. And in that, he's just go the whole time. And it would have been cool to see that played up, in the sense that maybe in the performance, Marty was overcompensating to, because maybe he did start to doubt himself, but he would have had to overcompensate, and then it kind of creates this weird, like, super enthusiasm. But as in the film, it's kind of just, he just believes in himself completely at a baseline. He doesn't even question it for a second. And you can say that, but you have to, like, there has to be something that happens underneath the hood for someone to be like that neurotic, and I think that didn't quite get through in the performance. But the characterization is incredible. I don't want to say it, but I think it might have been a direction issue, and I'm sorry to you, Benny. I'm sorry. It was an excellent film otherwise, but you could have had a little bit more, like a snap moment where he stays the same, but in order to stay the same, he has to really fucking, like, get some cognitive dissonance going, which he does, obviously, but you don't really see that in the performance. Every other performance in the film is incredible. Kevin O'Leary, he's kind of a little bit stunted, but that's like fitting, and he has a line in this movie that I think, as for like line reads of the year, definitely up there. I don't want to spoil it, but like that line, whew, incredible. Absolutely electric stuff. I've just been shitting on Marty Supreme, but it's a good movie. The whole like anachronistic music as well. Yeah, I think that's very, very interesting. I loved the use of like 80s music in the film as like anachronisms to kind of create this timeless, almost like fable-esque, parable-esque story. Heedless ambition is the philosophy of cancer, like you will destroy yourself. You will destroy everyone around you, and sometimes you have to measure. Like, Marty could have been really into table tennis, but also he could have gone about it a different way instead of head first. There were a lot of outs in the movie. Like, the old world champion was older than him by like 30 years, so I don't think he needed to do it just then. It was heedless ambition that made him so negative. Made him such a negative presence in the world. But I think Marty Supreme is one of the best of the year. I think it's incredibly good, very good, but I don't think it's the best film of all time. And I don't think Marty gave the best performance of all time. I think that one's going to Leo. But yeah, so those were the 5 this week. A little bit of more of a negative one. I think I went a bit heavier into analysis this week. But that's nice. I like going into analysis a little bit more, talking about a bit more like metatextual stuff as well. I don't know, maybe I could be a real film critic one of these days, hey? That'd be cool. But that's the list. I hope everyone enjoys. And we're done the first month as well. We're done because it's the 30th today, so I filmed this like a couple days after the week's over. But yeah, I'll put up the monthly total, and then maybe I'll do a trajectory or something. So yeah, we'll see what we're going to get to by the end of the year. So thanks everyone. It was a pleasure. It was a privilege. And I'll see everyone next week. Ta-ta.